How did you become the rock whisperer, compression guru, bouldering guy? Like you are, when I think of your climbing style, because it's unique, you seem to excel on things with big blunt features. You look at them and you don't really see holds. How and when did that become your thing? It seems like you caught hold of that style, realized you were really good at it at some point, and just like went all the way with it.
I'm trying to think, I actually have, I think it's even like a Polaroid of me climbing a squeeze problem in Big Bend outside of Moab. And it's like a 6 or something. And this was like really early in my climbing. Like I hadn't been climbing long at all. I was there with, a buddy of mine, Mike Shepard, another mentor. And he was like, man, you just did that. You just fired it. I'm like, well, I don't know, it makes sense, and it was significantly harder than any other boulders that I had done at the time. And I think it was a combination of maybe just aptitude. Maybe there's like physiology in there. I take after my dad. My dad worked for Texas Highway Department for like 35 years on a sign truck. And he had like these shoulders, and go figure when you're like pulling signs out of the ground, but he was good sized dude this way anyways. I think he never got taller than like 5'9", but I think physiology goes a long ways, which I don't know. I've got fat fingers. That's probably why I can't crimp very hard, etc. I can't get these things into a 0.3 crack, but I can really run up 0.4 and 0.5 and even 7.5s. So I feel like, you get a mix of your own ingredients, like aptitude, interest, physiology, and to be honest, like I've been enamored with places like Font from when I started. Like I thought, even when I just wanted to climb mountains or horrible frozen runnels with Choss Rock and whatever else, even when that's what I was into, photos and videos of Font always grabbed my attention. I was like, that is gorgeous. Those slopers look so cool. For years, I was just walking around Southwest Colorado, like feeling holds, like looking for something that was close to Font, that was going to be something like Font. And, 90% of that probably came from seeing the photo of Fred Nicole doing the first ascent of Karma. Like, I remember just seeing that and being like, that absolute orb that he's climbing on is just round, man. It's got like one big hold and then like these 3 slopey spots of chalk. Like, I want to figure that out. I want to like slopers, man. That's really cool, and I'm not going to split a tip. I'm not going to blow out a tendon or whatever, So yeah, I don't know. Probably.
Where did you first see that photo of Fred?
Well, this was back when we had these things, magazines, and now I can't remember who published it, if it was Rock and Ice or Climbing or what, but it must have been Climbing, because I think they were the ones that did the hot flashes little section in the front of the mag, and so it was like a quick little report, and the photo was probably just this big, and there he is, he's throwing his heel up, and Jackie Godoff is spotting him. There's no pads, there's like a little towel on the ground. It's not this big pit of eroded roots and stuff, it's just like this level pine needle landing, and like, they're wearing shorts, it's not temps, but yeah, he's just crushing this thing. And yeah, huge inspiration, just this tiny little, the photo couldn't have been 2 by 3 inches. And I was like, that's what I want to do.
What was it like to eventually embrace your style or your preference or I don't know if it felt like an identity in the style of bouldering that you really leaned into? And I'm curious about that because I almost went the other way compared to you, but have like, it's been this kind of slow full circle that I feel like is coming back around, where I started with granite bouldering and excelled at really featurey, squeezy type stuff because, I started climbing at 18. My fingers were relatively weak, but I was like a muscular guy from weightlifting and stuff before. But the style of climbing that always just fascinated me. It made me feel the way that you're describing karma was just board climbing. Like a 40-degree wall with little crimps fascinated me beyond anything else because it just was so improbable and hard, and just watching guys and gals be only attached to the wall by their fingertips and be really strong in those positions. I was just like, whoa, like how do they do that? I want to do that. And then I got into sport climbing and realized all the featurey, squeezy stuff is never going to transfer, very far to my sport climbing goals. Like I kind of need to
Kind of true.
get good at just grabbing holds and pulling if I want to climb, 513, 514 someday, that sort of stuff. And so I kind of went like, I kind of went away like in the 180 opposite direction of my strengths and attributes towards this thing that I was really bad at. And then it's only been in the last 4 or 5 years where I've kind of circled back and realized, like, why am I doing that to myself? I'm just kind of beating my head against like my anti-style. And what if I just split the difference or like leaned in a little bit more to the stuff I'm naturally good at? And I found a lot more. I found like kind of a different level or different layer of enjoyment in circling back and enjoying that.
Why not just have fun? Like why not enjoy yourself?
Was it that simple for you? It's just like, oh, this is cool and I like it.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, also, you split a tip up on, name it, up at Rocky Mountain National Park for the umpteenth time, or same thing in Waco. You got to go down and for me, I gotta have almost 2 weeks to turn my skin into leather gloves so I can climb there, and everything is like pretty steep for the most part. God, I gotta get my core working again and learn how to like toe down on these little holds that are like little ears everywhere all the time, and things, weird shapes, and like it's cool. It's so cool to walk up and look at some of these things and be like, that's one hell of a line. That's really cool. I just not particularly good at it. It takes me a long time to get out of it. Like I don't live in Waco. I have spent lots of time down there. I spent a couple months at a time here and there, and have had enough time to like get good enough at that style to do the things that I want to do. But gosh, it's so much more enjoyable and nicely packaged to like just go. I know I'm going to have a great time if I just go to Font and go squeeze and climb slabs and arêtes. Same thing with the creek. Like I'll go down there. It's going to be awesome. And I don't really need to do a whole lot because like this is what I do. This is I've come to terms with a long time ago. This is what I'm good at. And I don't really need to feel guilty about being a 1 or 2 trick pony or whatever. Like I don't need to be ashamed of that or whatever.
Of course
like,
not. No,
I
but
enjoy doing this. And there was such a focus, especially in the era I started climbing. What I started climbing in like 1993 and really got into it in like 96, 7. And then really got into it in 1999 in the fall. There was such this emphasis from everyone around me, and maybe possibly in the community itself, since bouldering as its own discipline was just like starting to break out. It was still in kind of fledgling status. But everyone has this huge emphasis on like, oh, you got to be well-rounded. And you still go to somewhere like the Creek today. Oh, you got to work on your sizes. You're like, no, I don't. Climbing one sucks. Like I can't get my hand in there.
Yeah.
Can I get up some ones? Sure. Yeah. Okay. But I'm not here to work and just like slog up 140 feet of not a good time. I don't have to work on that, It's a totally different thing if you go to the valley and you're climbing up some cool 10 pitch, I don't know, something where you're like, I have to get through this because it's part of this greater adventure.
Right.
It's an ingredient. It's part of the route. All right. I'm sold. I'll slog through it because it has a purpose. But like going cragging and working on my sizes, no, I don't want to do that anymore. Like I haven't wanted to do that for years. But yeah, just, I don't know, have fun. You're gonna perform better if you enjoy what you're doing. Bouldering's already hard enough, really hard. It's as hard
Yeah.
as it gets.
Yeah.
But yeah, just do better by enjoying yourself more.
If you're serious about taking your bouldering to the next level, I have something for you. We just launched 3 new bouldering programs in the Nugget training app, and I want to tell you about them and how you can try them for free. The first one is called Simple Bouldering with Steve Maish. This is the exact training program that I followed in the summer of 2021, which led to sending my first 3 V11s in the same season, 2 in Rocky Mountain National Park and 1 back home in Leavenworth, Washington. And what makes it unique is that it's 100% climbing. No weightlifting, no hangboarding. The entire program is designed to be done on the wall. The next 2 programs are called Essential Bouldering, and these include a mix of on-the-wall workouts, weightlifting, and finger training. The first one is called Forge the Sword. It's designed to build up your base of strength and skill, and you can repeat it over and over again. The second one is called Sharpen the Sword. It's designed to help you ramp up to a performance peak once or twice per year. The Essential Bouldering programs are basically the synthesis of all of the best advice I've collected for the past 6 years, and it's exactly how I'm training to send my first V13. If you're psyched to train and don't know where to begin, I would recommend Simple Bouldering if you just want to climb, and I would recommend the Essential Bouldering programs if you want a more comprehensive training experience. Also, it's super easy to scale all of these programs to any ability level. So if you're trying to send your first V4 or 5 or 6, or your first V10 or 12 or 14, these programs work. Check them out in the Nugget training app, link in the description below for a 14-day free trial. We'll see you inside.
We used to, there was a handful of us, I'm going to say in like the early 2000s up until like, I don't know, 2010, 2015 or something like that, really started standing back and looking at not just American bouldering, but kind of global bouldering and who the leading lights were at the time and the style that it seemed like everything was in. It's like, wow, you can be real famous if you can climb in this style. If you can climb steep crimps real well, you can go and, like we were talking a few minutes ago, you can just repeat stuff, and everybody can just hop on the train and so did this. Everybody who's anybody gets on the train and does it, in that next couple of weeks, next season or whatever. And, everybody's strong now, like really like awesome, really way to go. That went for some years and it still goes on because I feel like there's sort of an expectation, even among people that don't know a damn thing about bouldering, of what bouldering is. And people tend to think of steep overhang and just these tiny, unbelievably small holds. And like, gosh, what, you get a mixture of ingredients again there where like, is it because we had places like Rocky Mountain National Park? Is it the major players in the game who were like, hey, I'm really good at crimping? And that sort of defined bouldering for a long time. So for me, it was always kind of funny to like, I could go to font and suddenly like, oh, well now I can climb as hard as I want to now. And it's this different thing, especially back then, like 2004 or something like that. There weren't really a bunch of Americans going to font and climbing hard. Like it was still really, ooh, it's Fontainebleau, it's super sandbagged. You go there and you can't climb 7A, I couldn't get both feet off the ground on a V4 or whatever. And so that's what everyone talked about, but like, it's just different styles, and everybody has a different style. And then coming back home, that ultimately proved to be kind of a real boon for me. Cause like, well, yeah, if everybody's out putting up steep crimp problems that are 15 moves long or something, I can just kind of go and find the sloper ones. Like they're out there too. Not as many of them, again, back to rock type or whatever, but yeah, still out there.